the title of today's session is Heal the Planet and It Heals You. And I think we have the right person available to talk about the topic. And welcome,
Hello,
ma'am.
everyone. Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Alaka.
We live in a society that is so invested in education and educational standards. So, how do you think we can hold together emotional well being and also excellence?
Okay, so can I ask you a question in return? Okay, what is the ultimate purpose of education? Can you think of it? Can any of you think of it? What is the ultimate purpose of education?
Growth as a person?
Growth. Why do you need growth? Why do we need growth? Can any of you think of it? Why do we need growth? What is growth for? Why do we aspire for growth? What is growth?
For the society's well being?
Society's well-being. So ultimately, can we just say that the ultimate purpose of education or growth or development, whatever you want to call it, is ultimately well-being, happiness, good health, and peace of mind, right? Can we agree to that?
Yeah, sure.
So now let us do a kind of a post-mortem of what has happened so far in our society. Of late, there is enough statistical evidence to show that globally, our happiness levels have been decreasing. And in the recent times, it's very precipitously declining. Especially today's younger generation is a lot more unhappier than the previous generation. So the happiness is on the decline. Now, let's talk about intellectual intelligence measured by IQ, the intelligence quotient. Ever since the advent of TV globally in the 1975 or whatever, so from that time on, the IQ is declining. And now let's talk about emotional intelligence, measured by the EQ. The EQ has also been declining so precipitously, it is declining faster than the IQ. And there is a very famous, report called the Global, on emotional intelligence. It's called the State of the Heart Study, which measures the global emotional intelligence levels. And it says that the emotional intelligence has been declining very precipitously, and especially in today's digital era with smartphones and high-speed internet, this emotional intelligence is also declining very fast. So, happiness levels, intelligence levels, emotional intelligence, everything is declining. So, but, stress, depression, anxiety disorders, suicides, divorce rates, dysfunctional families and broken families, adolescent problems like drug addiction and digital addiction, they're all on the rise. Now, if you see, in a way, neither the planet is happy nor the people who have destroyed it. And who created such a world actually? It is people who are basically, it's people who are the products of the current global education system. In a way, it is this education system that is, making us go on a self-destructive path. And whatever we have in India, the education system is only to match this global education system standards, right? So I feel the entire ultimate purpose of education, or whatever you want to say, growth, or whatever you wanted to say, I feel is defeated, isn't it? Yes.
What do you think we should do at this point?
So, what I feel is we need a major course correction, right? So, what I mean by major course correction will not cannot happen in this very short time that we have. But to start with, let's go back to the education itself. So, if you see, educational psychologists have recently discovered, it's only a very new phenomenon, maybe it's like in the past 10, 20 years, that there are three pillars in educating, and so that, the development of the human mind is complete. It's called the one is the cognitive domain. Currently, our education system is almost 95 to 98% of the time, we only focus on the cognitive domain. The next domain is the psychomotor domain. Now, psychomotor, I think, as the name implies, it mainly involves mind-body coordination, so sports, art forms like dances, all of this come under the psychomotor domain. Again, hardly 4% of our children get enough of the psychomotor domain development. And the third thing is the affective domain. Now, the affective domain is related with emotional intelligence factors. It is related with emotional learning and thereby emotional well-being. Now, we have to understand one thing. Where from the concept of emotional intelligence came? If you see, Daniel Goleman is considered to be the father of emotional intelligence because he published the book Emotional Intelligence in the year 1995. And where from do you think Daniel Goleman would have got the insights or the content to say that, emotional intelligence is the most important form of human intelligence? Can you guess? Can any of you guess? Where do you think Daniel Goleman would have got the idea that emotional intelligence is more important than intellectual intelligence? Where do you think he would have imbibed this value in his career? Anybody? Can I say it? You're not able to guess, right? Any just rough guess? No? It's India. Daniel Goleman came in the 1970s to India. He learned a lot of things about something called experiential science, basically, the power of meditation. So, in the 1970s, who is Daniel Goleman? That we need to remember. He's a Harvard psychology professor. He's currently 93 years old, and he still advocates various aspects of emotional intelligence. So, back in Harvard, from there, he wanted to understand human mind in its totality. So, he came to India, he learned meditation, and then I would say that he went back to Harvard and he teamed up with like minded scientists. And in his entire career, he devoted his life to document the scientific effects of meditation on the human brain. And what he has understood is that we have enough IQ in this world. We have enough intellectuals in this world. We have doctors like myself, or engineers, or scientists. We have a lot of such, we are creating amazingly intelligent, career oriented people. But unfortunately, we are not having enough good, compassionate, kind, sensible, and people who have that kind of a heart to put others over themselves, selflessness, benevolence, and that helping nature, empathy, understanding. Such values are coming down in our society. And he felt that these are the values that are required more than anything else to create a happy and a happy world and a better world. So that is why he understood that to create such qualities in a human being, he scientifically proved that meditation creates those qualities in a human personality. He called it altered traits. It means how to bring such wonderful qualities in a human being like compassion and kindness. He called it as traits. So he wrote a book, Altered Traits, and it all talks about the scientific evidence on how meditation creates this kind of a change in human beings. But unfortunately, what has been happening is that in today's digital era, we are so addicted to the digital infotainment overload that this emotional intelligence, which is considered the most superior form of human intelligence, is unfortunately on the decline. And this is one of the major reasons for increasing mental health issues.
Okay, you've mentioned about digital addiction. How serious do you think it is? And how
In
can we maintain a healthy relationship with this technology?
Absolutely, yeah. I would like to say that I would say that digital addiction is the most serious problem of today's world. I would even say it is worse than drug addiction because, as a matter of fact, digital addiction and drug addiction has a connection. The kind of mental health issues that happens in digital addiction, for example, digital addiction creates anxiety. Digital addiction creates depression. It creates stress. It creates a lot of mental restlessness, and it also leads to attention deficit disorders. Even in adults. So there is a connection between the attention deficit hyperactive disorder or attention deficit disorders and drug addiction. So in a way, digital addiction and drug addiction also has a connection. You know, as a parent and as also an IAS officer who's heading the school education department, let me say that from my close circles, as well as from so many teachers and parents that I interact with in my department, I hear that so many children, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old children are getting so addicted to the digital medium that they are taking antipsychotic drugs, antidepressant drugs. They are not going to school. They are having behavioral problems. Parents are not able to handle them. They are fighting with their parents. I don't know what we are doing. What kind of a world are we creating? So I feel that, this digital addiction is the most serious problem. But as you rightly said, the digital era is here to stay. I mean, I wish and I do have in mind that one day I don't have to carry this everywhere I go around. I am sure the day will come. I am sure, very sure, the day will come in my life. But having said that, it's so difficult to be without this. So I would again and again come back to the point that meditation really improves our emotional regulation factors and self regulation factors. Again, it is scientific. There is no fairy tale, there is no pseudoscience or whatever here. It is completely scientific. We have 50 years of research which says that meditation helps us develop that kind of self regulation so that we are able to maintain a balance between the digital madness and the sanity that we have within us. So I think that is my advice.
Okay. So, in your book, The School of Life, which we had a discussion last year, you've connected mental health with sustainability. And also in the recent school Kalosava, state school Kalosava, you've connected um, love and
Yes.
responsibility. You have been making a lot of connections lately.
Yeah, I feel our entire planet and our lives, everything is connected. It's the problem in today's scientific world is we always dissect everything and put it in a microscope and see it in silos. Okay, so in my book, The School of Life, I have tried to establish this larger connection between everything on this planet and how our lives are connected to the planet. So when you talked about love and responsibility, this is one of my favorite areas that I would love to discuss. If you see like 10,000 years back, okay, all of us would have been living like tribals in a forest, right? So I met the tribals in the central Indian forest once. And from their lifestyle, I understood one thing. Whether it was us 10,000 years back or whether it was them, they took responsibility for the entire forest. They took responsibility for every tree, every grain of sand, every rabbit or even a tiger, or every flower, every river, every rock, every mountain. They took responsibility for the entire forest. They loved their entire forest. Their heart was so broad and expanded, so it was so wide that they could encompass the entire forest within their hearts. Okay, slowly with the advent of civilization, right, we started saying, okay, forest is not my responsibility. I would only take responsibility for my land and my community, which depends on the land that I have. So our hearts shrank and our responsibility also shrank. Then, with the advent of cities and towns and everything, we said, okay, I don't even have to take care of the community that I live in. It is my relatives, my friends, my family. Then, with this kind of a consumerist era and the digital era, what are we saying? I can't even take care of my parents. I don't even want to take care of, my children. So I don't want children. I don't want marriage. Then our hearts have shrunk so much that we are only concerned about me. And sometimes we don't even want to take responsibility for our own actions. So now you may argue that this is a personal choice. I'm not getting into that argument at all. All I'm saying is that when our hearts have shrunk so much from taking responsibility, such a heart can never experience soul nourishing love. So only when our hearts expand and bring the entire world into our object of affection, that is when our hearts expand. And such an expanded heart can never have mental health problems. It can never be affected by anxiety and depression. A heart that can love the entire world can never be bogged down by mental health issues. So, again, coming back to mental health and sustainability, one of the reasons why climate change is happening, what is the main reason? It's because of greed and desire, right? So greed, I would say that whether it is greed or desire or stress or anxiety or anger or rage or wrath or vengeance, all these negativities within a human being, I would label them and put it in a basket called egoic mind. Basically, all the mental and emotional impurities that we harbor inside ourselves, you can call it the egoic mind. So coming back again, I would like to say that meditation is kind of a vacuum cleaner. It's a kind of a vacuum cleaner that has been handed over to us in the past 2000 years, which actually cleans up the mental impurities within us. So we always believe that, one of the main reasons why climate change is happening is because of this consumerist culture. And why we're promoting this consumerist culture is because we feel that fulfilling our desires and fulfilling our greed will give us happiness. But this entire experiential science says that that is a very wrong, self destructive path. The real happiness, we search all over the world for happiness. We search all over the world for contentment and peace of mind. But the truth of the matter is, what experiential sciences say is that it's all within us. The happiness is within us. And the moment we use this vacuum cleaner to keep removing our emotional impurities, so whether it is greed or desire or hatred or stress, whatever it is, that is why I say the problems can be manifold in this world. But if we focus on creating a system that prioritizes this kind of an experiential learning, that prioritizes on removing the impurities of a human mind through such scientifically well established meditation techniques, I feel this is the most crucial and most important learning that we as adults, as well as as for children, this is what I feel is, the most wonderful learning that can happen in the lifetime of a human being.
Okay, as we all know, she's someone who advocates for sustainability, thrift culture, swap stores, reuse, and all. When we were talking before the session in the launch, she told me that she's right now wearing a 30-year-old sari. So, how
Yes,
do you
it is.
think people respond to it?
I think their claps are an evidence saying that people are responding to it very well. But I would say that it is only a small beginning. We hardly talk about responsible consumption. As I said, that one of the main reason is because why are we such voracious consumers? Because deep inside we've been told from when we are a young age, whether it is an advertisement or we are bombarded with so much of commercial infotainment load, that keeps feeding us that only if you buy this and buy that you'll be happy. So it deep within our soul, I would say, we have developed this illusory belief that only buying this and that and keep buying new things will make me happy. So it is very much part of our psyche, but it is a very big lie. It is a very big illusion. So, as I said initially, the real happiness is within us. And, and but because we do not understand this, because we believe this illusion, because we believe these consumerist lies, we keep on buying things thinking that it will make us happy. But if you see, that is one of the main reasons why people today are unhappy, because no matter how much they buy, how much they own materialistically, they are not able to find happiness, because it's a very illusory, infinite slab that you'll keep on climbing but you'll never find. It's like a mirage. Keep on walking, but you'll feel like it's there, it's the happiness is there, but you'll never find it. Okay, so as I said, again, coming back, that is why it's a very, desire is a very, very strong aspect in a human being. So, to overcome the desire and encouraging people to become a responsible consumer, I think we have a long, long way to go, miles to go before I sleep, I guess. But it's a humble beginning. Many people are advocating and talking about it. I hope this quiet but powerful number of people keep increasing in the coming days.
Okay, you've recently mentioned about meditation. So, what's your take on it? Is it a coping tool or coping mechanism, or does it help in work-life balance and all?
Absolutely, absolutely. What meditation can do is, from my experience at least, is that one, it increases your energy levels, right? So, and your mind calms down. You are no longer bogged down by the negativities within you. So, therefore, your mind becomes sharper and more productive. So, and the point is, the energy levels are sustained throughout the day. So, of course, no matter what, even I live in this lifestyle. I haven't escaped this lifestyle. So, this lifestyle demands a lot from us. So, in such a demanding lifestyle, I feel, in my case, I feel meditation really helps me create that calm, serene, and disciplined mind to, be productive, to be, do time management much better, be more planned and systematic, be more disciplined. And above all, as a mother, I always say this, I spend 2 hours of, my time in the morning for my meditation routine. And people ask, like, as a working mother, as an IAS who's a mother, how are you able to manage? I said, it's only because I invest the 2 hours, I'm able to balance myself as an officer as well as a mother. So it's the mother in me that motivates me to invest these 2 hours of meditation every day in my life, because every day it makes me a better mother than I would otherwise be. Thank you.
Okay, the title of our session was Heal the Planet and It Heals You. What's your take on that?
So I have understood that, whatever efforts we do to heal ourselves, because I've had lots of health issues. I had been an asthmatic ever since I was 14, 15 years of age. And I was using inhalers left and right. And by the time I hit 36, 40, my system went for a toss, My entire system was actually completely gone corrupt, is what I would say. So what I understood is that then, the diet is basically a plant-based, a low, a natural diet, which is like, for example, organic, a chemical-free diet will definitely heal me. And I understood how the toxins in the environment is affecting our health. So in a way, whatever we have done to destroy the planet is destroying us, and whatever measures we do to reverse this effect will heal our bodies as well as the planetary health. So that is, and this connection is very huge, but we don't have time. I have explained this connection much better in my book, The School of Life.
Okay, I think we have only 6 minutes left, so I think we can open the session for discussion.
Hi, ma'am. I'm
Hi.
Nasrin.
You, sorry, I didn't get your name.
Nasrin.
Nazrin. Yes, please, Nazrin.
You said about digital toxicity.
Yes.
So, what do you want to say to this generation to overcome the digital toxicity? How to overcome the digital toxicity?
Okay, so first is, of course, the awareness that, the digital toxicity or the digital addiction is an addiction, and it is as bad as drug addiction and alcohol addiction. And I would even say sometimes it's even worse than drug addiction and alcohol addiction, because at least for drugs and alcohol, it has to be made available to you. But this is all the time available with us, right? So I would say that is even worse than drug and alcohol addictions. The first is, it is multiple fold. The first thing is, it's not just today's generation, even our generation first has to learn, because, even today's parents, I saw a father or a mother, who was giving a 3-month-old baby a telephone, a smartphone, to stop the baby from crying, right? So I would say that is the most dangerous thing you can do to your child. But much of the time, we are not aware. Parents are not aware that, whenever the child cries, we are giving them a smartphone. Whenever the child is bored, we are giving them a smartphone. My son used to come and say, I'm bored. I said, be bored. You need to be bored. You need to learn how to overcome your boredom. Being bored is very good for your mental health. So, but then today's world, being bored is a sin, and the moment we get bored, even for a second, immediately we have to indulge in some kind of entertainment. So, first is the awareness. But having said that, as I mentioned the other time, you know, it is there with us all the time. It's like a black hole, which keeps pulling you in. We are carrying a black hole in our hands all the time, which keeps sucking us in, okay? Yes, it's all the time with us. So, as I said, scientifically, it has been proven that meditation and mindfulness, what it does is, there is a part of the brain which is, the part of the brain which is involved in self regulation. What is self regulation? So you're keeping a vegetable salad and, say, a junk food in front of you, right? So what makes you say no to the junk food and go for the salad? It is your self regulation. It is a part of emotional intelligence, right? So I understand that meditation and mindfulness has been scientifically proven to increase the self-regulation. So as I said, problems are plenty, but I feel and all the problems originate from here, the human mind. Learning how to control this mental monkey, is the biggest education we can have in life. And this is there in the School of Experiential Sciences like meditation and mindfulness. So I feel practicing that every day will help you, regulate yourself better and overcome the suction pull from the black hole in our hand. So that's what I would like to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm Dr. Pratima. So,
Dr. Pratima.
yes,
Yes.
yes. I'm also a working mother. You're also a working mother. So you emphasize so much on meditation. I also do meditate, but how do you carve out the time for that? So,
It's not even the time. I would say it's priority, right? So all of us have the same 24 hours. You have the same 24 hours. I have the same 24 hours, right? So, but I make it a priority. That is the only difference, right? So, and obviously, when in the morning after my children leave for school, and I pack them whatever their breakfast or whatever, I immediately sit for my meditation before going to office. So I finish my 2-hour routine and then I go to office, and I'm able to, I have to say that whatever I would take otherwise, like say if I take a 1 hour to do complete some work, whenever I do my meditation properly, I'm able to complete that within half an hour because your mind is focused, you become more productive. So automatically, I don't know, people all the time talk about time management and work life balance. I don't know if any of those tips work. For me, meditation works because I'm double the time productive, so it saves me double the time. So I'm able to invest that kind of a time in both parenting as well as in meditation. And time is a very big constraint for me, especially with my lifestyle. But whenever I am with my children, which is unfortunately not as much as I would like it to be, but I'm fully present with them. That also meditation helps. I'm emotionally available to my children. So I have patience. What children need is patient listening, is to understand them. Truly put yourself in the child's shoes and understand what the child is going through. Especially, I'm having one child in adolescence and the other child is about to enter adolescence. So, in this era, bringing up an adolescent child is very, very challenging. So, what it needs is patient listening, empathetic understanding. So, that kind of an emotional presence with the child is very, very important. So, even though I have very little time and my children constantly complain that, Amma, you're not at all at home, but whatever time I'm available, I make it worth it because I'm emotionally available with my children. Thank you.
We've come to the end of the session.
Thank you.
So, as
Thank
you
you
were
so much
saying-
for a wonderful session, Alaka. Thank you so much for the wonderful audience. Thank you.
Thank you.